walking today thinking that very thing, like, and what's our responsibility to, we can be resistant to the change or roll with the change, knowing that it will come back around again. So be ready for the come around. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
even this period of this, disease that we're in right now with people, all of this nastiness, it's going to go away. There's going to come a period, well, it has to, right? Come a period where people are going to be like, I'd rather just be with people and be happy. I ain't got to fight over dumb stuff with folk. Well,
exactly.
let me just enjoy this rib here and drink this Kool-Aid and be happy. 866-801-8255. But, as you're looking at even your job, I was just looking at all of the lawsuits and stuff happening with people that deal with diversity. Last time you were here, we were talking about that.
Yeah,
All these diversity programs are going away. Even the colleges are stopping scholarships. Those are high paying jobs that are
exactly.
going away. What's the
Yeah,
pivot for the DEI folk?
listen, the pivot for the DEI folks is to understand that DEI is not just those words. The pivot for DEI folks is understanding what you're teaching people is how to effectively communicate. So can you perhaps maybe focus on communication? The pivot for DEI folks is recognizing what are the skills that you are fundamentally teaching and where do they fit? Because the skills still fit in the work economy. But what we are calling them is now under fire. So it's understanding how to pay attention to, like, what do people actually need? What do you need? And if you think about it that way, you often can find yourself into a space where it's like, okay, people need this resource and I'm great at this. We can call it whatever works for the organization. That's very much what my business is doing. Like, if DEI works for you, great, we have it. But if that's not it, maybe you need leadership coaching, maybe you need communication, maybe you need, something else that is going to be about how you are showing up as a powerful leader. Because regardless of where the economy goes, regardless of where tech goes, we're going to need leadership. We're going to need some kind of support. And so what are we doing to make sure we're resourcing people to be able to do that? One of the things, as an example, that we're focused on is like, the world is a global economy now. So most organizations have operations multinationally. Do you have leaders that know how to lead multinationally? That is indeed a DEI conversation, but we don't frame it that way. We're talking about how do your leaders lead, multinationally. We don't even have to use those words. So I think this, my industry is a perfect example of just having awareness that things are going to evolve and being willing to pay attention to what is happening so that you can be on the forefront of that change and benefit and survive versus being on the back end of it like, oh my gosh, this thing is going away. What am I going to do once it's gone?
We should look up, right, and out. I feel like we get caught in our little boxes and
Yeah.
this is all there is, but there's a whole big world that you mentioned. Apple's finding that out. Apple for the first time has dropped shipments of its smartphone, the Apple phone, the iPhone. Well, I think it's primarily because y'all ain't do nothing but change the color and made the camera, added another camera. Y'all ain't done nothing since Steve Jobs died. Like, if we're gonna be honest about it, there ain't been no innovation at Apple. Y'all just changing colors and cords
Well, we
and,
got a new
and
tool.
well, ain't nobody using that, Amber. Ain't nobody using that. I'm sorry. Nobody's giving themselves vertigo with the damn thing. It ain't here yet. Meta lost trying to do that. Apple, I don't know. Why would you follow Meta, or excuse me, Facebook? I'm going to call it Facebook. Why would you follow Facebook into something that failed, thinking that you could do it better when you don't have a Steve Jobs on your bench? You ain't got a Kobe or a Jordan. Like, y'all sit down somewhere. So the prices fell because China's like, we're going to do our own phone because we done already took apart your thing and we just knocking it off because that's what we do very well. We're going to knock off your stuff and sell it back to our people. And so we don't need your phones anymore. Thank you very much. Just China saying no thank you. Dropped Apple 10%. It's crazy. And I don't know where they're going to get it from. So the shipments to China shrank 2.1%. That was a portion of it. But there's more going on. Oh, Samsung's phone is nicer. I'm gonna just say that as somebody with a Samsung flip phone as well, this flip phone is fire,
The
y'all.
one with the foldable
This
screen.
one, this
Yeah,
one, this one,
look at
fire.
that. Yes.
Anyway,
But it's
so
not
there's
just the
that.
phones. It's also happening with the electric vehicles. So Tesla was really, really, really booming, and now there is a competitive brand. It's on the tip of my tongue, but in China it's more popular. It's a lower cost EV, and
Yes.
it is giving Tesla a run for its money. And Tesla did not believe it initially, but now there's a force to be reckoned with.
It's like when Kia came into the market and Hyundai, and when nobody checking for them, and now they're like, ha ha. Yes, I think it's the Exomi, Exomi, the Chinese EV that they're selling for like
Yes.
$10,000.
Yes.
Whooping their ass. Yes, Tesla's laying off 10% of its workforce as a
Mhm.
result of a amazing dip. And when I say amazing dip, I'm not talking about Elon Musk, although it could be definitely him as well. But yeah, now they're cutting their prices, which would piss me off. If I bought a $40,000 Tesla and now you selling it for 20,000, I'm mad about that right
Yeah.
now, Tesla. And shout out, because there's a lot of black folk with Teslas because of their, they got some nice features, the
It's techy.
karaoke. Yeah, it's very fun. It's very fun. There's a whole black crew of people, like the motorcycle people. They
Yep.
hang out. They got the whole Tesla crew. But yeah, it's a no for me. And now this has happened. China is coming. So how do we, as global citizens, because we're Americans, we live also in a world that has the bounds are disappearing by the day.
Mhm.
Things are happening, even geopolitically. There was a time, maybe 10, 20 years ago, when Israel doing what it's doing to Gaza wouldn't have gotten any attention at all. By Americans wouldn't be protesting at all, because they've been doing it, by the way. Let me just say that this has been going on,
Yeah.
right? We've been quiet about it and
Yeah.
nobody cared about it. Now everyone's, this is wrong, I can't believe it, Netanyahu sucks. And now Iran, there's this whole thing we were talking yesterday, and it was nice to be able to, do a little history of Persia, do a little history of Iran, so it's not just like the boogeyman. And I'm not saying they're right, and I'm not saying Israel's right. I'm saying that we should look at humanity
Yeah.
in its fullness and not let people choose demons for us, you
Yeah.
know. And
I think it's
it's
one of the
important.
benefits. It's like of having phones now, like, to kind of tie it back even to the phones. Like we have the ability independently to document, to communicate, to research, to look for other sources of information, to decide where we want to get things from. And so it's a lot easier for us to look at how things are connected to the global economy. It's a lot easier for us to consider this item I have in my hand, whose labor, whose body, whose money, whose time went into making this thing that's available for me to pop on the internet and learn what's going on. And so I think now that that's available, we're in a really critical point in our information experience because we are discovering the dangers of our immediate access to information, the implications that that has on communities around the globe, the implications that it has on how things cost for us. And I feel like, I think it's juicy. Like, I think it's great that we have it and that we are being forced to face both the benefits while also having to acknowledge that there are also a lot of repercussions for what we've done.
Someone was checking me, is like, well, you use a cell phone, and this hurts people in Africa. How do you feel about that? And I was like, no, you know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, but are we going to talk? Like, this becomes kind of the moral conundrum, right?
Yeah.
If me using this phone and buying a new phone means that somebody in the Congo is going to be harmed,
Mhm.
do I have a responsibility to put this phone down?
And more
It,
importantly, what does the responsibility look like? Because
yeah,
you
okay.
putting your phone down doesn't necessarily stop what's
Right.
happening.
Right. So how do we navigate that? 866-801-8255. Like, even thinking strategically about, the moves we make financially. I was really, again, leaning into the young lady that was, who lost her son. First of all, nobody wants to bury their child. So that's devastating. But to then be in work mode to make sure that, while I'm in good health, I'm going to go out here and work. I feel like for many of us, because we don't know all of the opportunities, we know how to work hard. We
Mhm.
know how to work. Boy, we know how to work.
Yeah.
I watch my daddy get up at 5 o'clock every morning, open his store, go to his job afterwards, come back at lunchtime and settle, pick up the receipts to take them to the bank, and then come back and close up, and then come home and then reconcile the books at midnight, and then rinse and repeat every day. I watched this. It's hard work, and he made good money. Right. But I was like, the $500,000 that you had in your safe, we would have been multiple millionaires doing nothing if you had just invested that money. Do you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So even in that, you work hard for a period of time to make enough money to then invest it, to then be able to never have to work again.
But
Like,
people
that
are
should
scared of
be.
investments, Karen. People are
I know.
scared.
I
People are scared.
know.
They don't know how. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. They don't know how much they have to have. They don't know who they can trust. I think Black community, especially, really, really reserved about talking in detail about money. So, I mean, the question becomes, where do I go to get this? How do I know that I can trust this person that's selling me? And how easy are you going to make it for me? Because I am intimidated by the challenge.
Listen, we had Terry Igioma on. I literally met her in midway through her journey on becoming this mogul. Like she's a mogul and it's all stock trading. Met her in Texas at Angela Matthews' event. And Angela was just starting out as well. So there was like, and then there's these crew of people whose money making is selling you stuff, So I always got the screw face and one eyebrow up because I'm like, you just, it's like Kiyosaki. You were telling me how to make money by selling books. That's how you're making money. Selling books, telling me how to make money. Your money making scheme is selling your books. It's not really
Exactly.
I can't do what you're doing. But at the end of the day, as I'm like learning these skills myself and applying them, I'm like, yes, this works.